Rabbi Glatstein is Rav of Kehilas Tiferes Mordechai in Cedarhurst, New York, and one of the Jewish world's most popular speakers and respected Torah teachers. He's a published author of several series of Sfarim and numerous volumes of English Torah books published by ArtScroll. But what Rabbi Glatstein is probably most known for is his more than 10,000 recorded classes that have garnered literally millions of views on TorahAnytime.com and numerous other platforms. In this follow-up episode to Part 1, we address the subject of Rabbi Avigdor Miller, the late great Torah personality whom Rabbi Glatstein was privileged to forge a relationship with in his youth, the pros and cons of using the internet to disseminate Torah, and the importance of respecting your audience by putting in sufficient preparation and making sure you're always presenting to them something new. Let's dive right in.
The things that Rav Miller said back in his time, they raised the hair on a lot of people's heads, and I think even more so now. Do you think that he would have said it the same way today? Would Rav Miller have maybe used different terms, different ways of saying things to get his message across?
Can't speak for him. I would assert that the same ideas and the same values he would espouse today just as much as he espoused back then. In terms of his general views, be it about the Holocaust, be it about the various denominations of Judaism, be it about liberal values, I don't think he would have tempered the message. Perhaps he would have used different verbiage, so some verbiage that he used back then, perhaps today would be considered so unusual. Perhaps he would have used different words, but he would not have changed the message. That's, in my humble opinion.
Let me ask you another thing about Rav Miller, where in the beginning when the internet first came on the scene, so I guess it was intuitive to take his Torah and to spread it even wider using the internet. And I read a quote, I don't know if he said it, but I read a quote attributed to him once that he said, it's like someone would ask me if I want to put my Torah in the toilet. Yeah. And I'm wondering, do you think he would still feel the same way? And if that's the case, how do you feel about using the internet as a means to be Marvit's Torah?
Okay, so that's, it's a very important question. Again, Rav Miller was asked this question, many decades ago. What would he have said today? I think that when it comes to technology, there are always two questions to ask. A, should we use it? And B, when, and B, if we should, when? And I think the question of when is a very important question, and that's the question that I try to use a certain amount of sensitivity and judgment. So, look, it's no secret I have a lot of stuff online, but I feel that at the time that I started putting it online, at that time, let's say people greater than me, more senior than me, had already started to do so. So therefore, it was appropriate. Would it have been appropriate 20 years before? Maybe it wouldn't have been. So you said, well, is the internet, is it good or is it not good? The answer is it's a tool. And every tool you have to know when to use. And part of knowing when to use it is when, the leaders of the community deem it acceptable based on the society we live in. So something that one person could do may be wrong, and something that another person could do may be correct, and the only difference is when they did it. So I think that is a truth when it comes to technology. Since my stuff's been online, it's on other platforms also, more recently. And I heavily debated and deliberated whether to put the Shiurim on certain platforms. And when I saw, again, that people greater than myself or more senior than myself had their material on these platforms, so then I felt the time was right. But let's say my stuff is still not on what we call social media. Many Rabbanim do have it on social media. And I'm not saying right or wrong, I just didn't feel it was the right time yet. But in general, I think there's a principle, the way at least I see it, is, the pasuk says, Yafta lekim liyefes v'yishkain ba'alei shem. God gives literally beauty to Yafes, and it should dwell in the tents of shame. So literally that means that God may give the Western world certain aesthetic abilities and talents, be it in architecture, and be it in painting, be it in other ability, and we have to use it to beautify, let's say, our Batei Knesiyos and our places of learning. But I think beyond that, Yafta Lekim Liyefes, God gives Yefes the sciences, and including that is technology. And our job is the Yishgain Ba'alei Shem. We have to use technology to advance our cause. The prime example is, the printing press. It's well known the Christian world was against the printing press. It was considered heretical to use a printing press. And the Jewish people, for the most part, we embraced it. And because of the printing press, it spread Torah in an unprecedented way. Now, everyone has the availability to have a Rambam, to have a Gemara, to have a Beis Yosef. So, in a certain sense, look, the internet is a tool. It's a dangerous tool, but dangerous tools are important. If we didn't have dangerous tools, then we would be defenseless in the state of Israel. So, dangerous tools help protect the lives of millions of Jews and help protect Artseinu HaKadoshah. So, by the same method, dangerous tools are also needed to disseminate the Torah and really protect the Jewish people. We all know there's a downside of the internet. We all know there are dangers of it. But like every dangerous tool, it has incredible power and ability. So you got to use it. When I started giving a shiur, I started as a Rav in Kew Garden Hills. And it's actually worthwhile, maybe if we have time, discussing how I even ended up in Rabbanus in the first place. But my first Rabbanus in Queens, I started off as a pretty young Rav. I don't know, maybe it was about 30 years old. And I was giving a shiur to not even 10 people, my first job. And somebody suggested that I have bring a camera to record it. I remember a friend of mine, Michael Levy, I was teaching a class in Great Neck, and he said, you became a Rav in Queens, why don't you record the shiur? And I said, record the shiur? Who's going to listen to the shiur? We have 10 people sitting around the table eating rugelach on Wednesday night. Who's going to record? Who's going to listen to the shiur? He said, just do it. So I remember I began, and the statistics came in that in the course of a week, let's say 700 people watched the Shiurim. And I remember being astounded. Wow, 700 people in a week? And, by now, we're talking, more than 10 years later. I mean, it's much, much, much more than 700 people a day. Just on, let's say, one type of platform. So, even the scope of the Harbatzas Torah, and in terms of the reach of cities across America and countries around the world, it's a different world today. I remember one of my rabbeim in terms of mentors in Rabbanos was Rabbi Glatstein. He said nowadays a person could be in their Dalet Amos, and literally you could reach the entire Jewish world. This was not something ever available in the history of the Jewish people. Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students. And, you think, how is that possible to have 24,000 students? You had to be a Rabbi Akiva. But, with technology today, it's just a tremendous opportunity and gift. And along with that opportunity and gift, you have to be, if we're very careful what you say, Sometimes you forget exactly who may be listening and the reach and the power. And people, you really have to be careful what you say.
Before he became a Rav, he used to give a short Dvar Halacha after davening. and you would put in an extraordinary amount of preparation for this short Dvar Halacha. So maybe talk a little bit about that. What kind of preparation were you putting in, and why did you feel it necessary to put in that amount of preparation?
Okay, so I think this is like a general point of focus. So before I became a Rav, I was giving this daily halacha, literally 2 to 3 minutes, and it became pretty popular. I think mostly because I put in tremendous amount of preparation. So I would prepare different topics. Let's say, starting with a negovas. So I just did a lot of research. Why do you need to wash your hands 3 times? I mean, after the first time, your hands are clean. So what exactly does 3 times accomplish? It's not something found in the Mishnah Torah. And you have to sort of dig beneath the surface and look at svarim that maybe you've never seen before, and certainly people have never heard of before. Is it somehow washing 3 times? Is it create a chazaka of purity? Or is it that are there 3 separate types of tumah that you have to remove? And I'm just going to stop and highlight this for a moment, because look, you need to if you want people to appreciate what you have to say, you have to respect your audience. And if you're going to get up and say, in the morning you have to wake up and wash your hands 3 times, people are thinking, are you kidding me? This is what I'm an adult. You don't think I know that already? Why are you repeating what I know already? No, I'm tuning you out. You don't respect me. You have nothing to offer. Clearly you didn't prepare. So, this is not for me. So you have to respect your audience. You have to at least consider the fact that they're likely educated to a certain extent. Again, you have to know your audience. If they never heard of Megamonster, then certainly that's something you need to teach them in the proper way. But if they have any degree of yeshiva education, then you need to respect that they want to learn something new, and they don't want to hear same old. That's sort of a guiding principle for me, that I personally don't like to hear same old. So I'm assuming neither do other people. It's interesting. You know what is something that people are always interested in? The news. People are, did you know every single day people tune into the news? Why? Because that's what it is. It's news. It's something new. People want to hear something new. And that's why they're going to check their phone multiple times a day. Why? Maybe something is new. And that's why people love their phones. Why are people so attached to their phone? Because at any moment in the day, they can receive a message and they could see or hear or find out something new. The human being loves chidush. The human being needs chidush. The Rivan Shalom is machadesh b'chol yom ma'aseh bereshis. The world is created new every day, and a human being has a need for chidush. And I feel that I do. I always want something new. So you have to harness man's desire for something new by giving them chidushay Torah. When I say chidushay Torah, I mean you want to teach them new insights into the Torah. The reason why the news is so popular is because people need something new, but God made it that people want to hear new information because that's how we advance our knowledge of Torah. So you want to do research, whatever topic you're talking about, and you want to present a new analysis, a new insight, a new angle, a new perspective. You don't want people to walk away and say, what in the world was that guy doing telling me what I already know? So to me, it's always very important to have a new angle and to have a new perspective, and requires work and research, preparation. And when people hear something new that's exciting and that's stimulating, they appreciate it and they're going to come back for more. So to me, that's somewhat of a guiding principle. I used to spend 2 to 3 hours preparing this 2 to 3 minute Dvar Halacha. That's back in the day when I still had time. And I don't always have the luxury to do that, but that remains like a operating or a guiding principle, and try, all the Torah that I teach. Um, so so that's always important to me. So I have a big shiur on Wednesday night. That's like my main shiur of the week, and it's usually on the Parsha or on Inyana D'Yoma. Yeah, and I'm always looking for new material, new svarim that I never heard of or that people never heard of. And it's a big avodah. It's a lot of work, but it pays off because you're sharing Torah with Klal Yisrael.
You can connect with Rabbi Glatstein at rabbidg.com, where you can subscribe to his newsletter and join his WhatsApp groups for his classes. You've been listening to The Maggid Method, and I'm Daniel Steinberg. There's a secret the great public speakers know. Did you know there's a method for cutting straight through to an audience's heart, grabbing their attention and holding it, and making a memorable impact with your presentation? The best speakers in the world utilize it, and now you can too, every time you get up to speak. Download your free Maggid Method of Public Speaking template at maggidmethod.com, maggidmethod.com. The Maggid Method will teach you how to find your authentic voice, craft meaningful presentations, manage people's attention, and build unbreakable bonds with your audience. Go to maggidmethod.com and download your free copy now.